You have some pieces in this show that are nothing like I've ever seen, these sculptural works that are metal, and I'd like you to talk about those. They're very different, and the color, of course, is very exciting, which is similar to some of the glazes you're using. So can you talk about this piece?
Yes. This is stainless steel, and when I was in graduate school, for about a year, I worked 3 days a week, 10 hours a day, as a finished stainless steel grinder. And the finished stainless steel grinder, basically what happens is the stainless steel comes in the front of the shop in flat sheets. It goes to a chopper who cuts shapes. From there it goes to the bender. From there it goes to the welder. And then the welded form, like a sink for a restaurant, a countertop for a restaurant, a bank window, a stainless steel bank window, drive-up window, those forms come to the grinders. And the stainless steel grinder is supposed to hide all the welds by making it look like it's one piece of steel that's never been bent, never been welded. The surfaces have to be finished in a way that looks like there's a grain in the stainless steel from one end to the other. And it's a very demanding job to get just right. In the process of learning how to be a stainless steel finish grinder, you make a lot of mistakes. And the mistakes are really what I've used in these pieces to be creative and to experiment with. When you grind on a piece of stainless steel with a auto body disc grinder, you leave a mark that is very difficult to erase. So what happens is you build up marks, and one mark is on top of the other, but you can still see the previous marks. It's a really bizarre material. If you did that with aluminum, the second grinder marks immediately hide the first ones because aluminum's too soft. But the stainless steel's real hard. The title of this piece is Homage to the Peacock Room. James Abbott McNeill Whistler was an American 19th century painter. 1834 when he was born, 1903 when he died at a young 69. He's, to me, one of the most influential artists, American artists ever, and an artist that has influenced my work, I think, greatly, because Whistler took risks. He was always taking risks. He was always experimenting. He was always trying something new. He ended up in London at one point in his life, and there was a mansion owner in London that was converting his dining room into a display room for Chinese porcelains. And he had hired this designer who basically put incredible dark mahogany molding all over the walls. All the shelves were dark mahogany molding, and there was even molding in the ceiling. And in between the layers of molding was Spanish leather of a tan nature. And it was really a beautiful room. But the designer fell ill, and Whistler happened to be there, and the owner of the mansion commissioned Whistler to finish the room while he was gone for the summer. So the first thing Whistler does is he paints all the leather this turquoise, and then he gold leafs all the mahogany woodwork as well as the chandeliers. Well, the owner comes back and has a fit. He can't believe it. He refuses to pay Whistler, but he really doesn't have the money at this point to convert the room back to the way he wanted it. Somehow Whistler gets into the room, and with gold leaf, he depicts life-size two peacocks fighting, one representing himself and one representing the mansion owner. Well, hard times fall on the mansion owner, and he sells he gives his estate to his children, and his children sell the estate. And this was at a time not too long before the Great Depression, when Americans were quite often, rich Americans were going to Europe and buying estates and transporting the estates back to the United States and having the estates reassembled in the United States. And this happened a lot in Long Island. But a man named Charles Freer in Detroit went over to London. He liked the Peacock Room. He bought it. He transported it to his mansion in Detroit and reassembled the Peacock Room just as Whistler had left it. And today, the Peacock Room is part of the Freer Gallery at the Smithsonian Institute. And you can go to Washington and see the actual Peacock Room just as it was in 2 other locations. So this represents my homage to the Peacock Room, and if you can see sort of what represent peacock feathers in the background. And it's got this gold around the edge and fake green granite on the base.
That's that Formica, right?
Actually, this was Wilson Art.
Wilson Art.
Wilson Art was another plastic laminate company that at the time was ahead of Formica in making faux materials on their Formica.